lighting up City Hall in Tel Aviv tonight, the blue and white of Israel, and as well the green, white, black, and red of the United Arab Emirates.
Just a few moments ago, I hosted a very special call with two friends.
Donald Trump with the surprise announcement this morning.
After 49 years, Israel and the United Arab Emirates will fully normalize their diplomatic relations.
Trump's call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.A.E.'s Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed is said to have sealed the deal.
This is the greatest advancements toward peace between Israel and the Arab world in the last 26 years.
Israel struck a peace accord with Egypt in '79 and with Jordan in 1994, but most other Arab countries have failed to recognize Israel. Until now, says Trump. Stay tuned.
Now that the ice has been broken, I expect more Arab and Muslim countries will follow the United Arab Emirates lead.
A key part of the agreement, Israel will suspend plans to annex chunks of Palestinian territory in the West Bank. In return, Israel gets that long-wanted recognition from another Arab country. Then there's Iran. Along with the U.S., both Israel and the U.A.E. see that country as a constant threat. The deal strengthens opposition against Iran within the region. But Palestinians quickly turned thumbs down on all of it, a government spokesman today calling it a betrayal. Palestinians have long urged Arab countries to steer clear of Israel until Israel agrees to lasting peace with Palestinians. For Donald Trump, it's a big foreign policy achievement, just as his re-election campaign is set to begin in earnest. Low in the polls, he seemed happy with how it's all playing out. It's a great, great thing, he said. Andrew.
And Paul, speaking of the election, Trump is continuing to weigh in on how he thinks voting will actually play out.
Yeah, it's all about how to actually conduct the vote in November. Most people in this country agree that standing in line at a polling station during a pandemic, maybe for hours, is a potential health hazard. So the idea of voting by mail has caught fire big time, but not in the White House. Donald Trump is now pushing back against the U.S. Postal Service and a request for more money for it. Trump is directly linking that request with the move toward voting by mail and suggesting, without evidence, that voting by mail will lead to voting fraud. Trump critics suggest he's in fact worried it'll lead to more people voting and voting for Joe Biden. Today, Trump said he opposes the new funding. Man, did he ever. Here he is on Fox News when he called in to talk about it.
They want $3.5 billion for something that'll turn out to be fraudulent. That's election money, basically. They want $3.5 billion for the mail-in votes, okay, universal mail-in ballots. There's nothing wrong with getting out and voting. You get out and vote. They voted during World War I and World War II. Now, if we don't make a deal, that means they don't get the money. That means they can't have universal mail-in voting.
Trump opponents are tonight saying he is simply trying to manipulate the Postal Service for his own political gain. Andrew, it's going to be a wild ride from here to November.
Paul Hunter, thank you very much.